Hey guys, how you going? Welcome to this week's track guide. This week we're in the iR-04 lap around Suzuka. Just before we start this lap, I just wanted to stress the importance of getting on the power as early as possible. Suzuka especially, we've got lots of tight corners followed by long straights. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and look as far down the track as we can, get on the power as early as we can. Beautiful. Alright, let's start this hot lap. So what we're trying to do in this first section, trying to sacrifice a few of these corners for one penultimate one that leads onto a big straight. Anyway, heading down straight one here, looking for the 50 metre mark. Lightly scrub the brakes, 20% odd, just bleeding a bit of speed off. Into fourth, get her pointed in, get on the power as early as we can. Want to use a little bit of this curb as well, don't get on the green stuff. Bring her out to the right, lift over the curb. Lift over the curb, else it'll disrupt it too much. Alright, on the power here, alright. Now, we want to keep this one tucked in. On the power as early as we can here. That'll set us up to tuck into this one. Just as early as we can, we want to give it a light straighten. Now what that did was that gave us a little bit of drive. Beautiful. Alright, heading down to the 50 metre mark. Gonna dab the brakes, turn in. Get on the power as early as we can. Brake down to third. Get it turned in, on the power. Don't go any wider than that, you'll get beached. Accidentally short shifted, whoops. Down to second. Round early as we can on that power. That was a little bit slow there. That's alright. Shortest possible line through these corners, guys. You can go a bit wider here because you've got to bring her back in. Very important here, I keep it in fifth. What we're going to do is we're going to look for an intersection, lightly brake and hitting this curb, downshift into fourth. On the power again. Brake and get her turned in. This is off camber, so light, gentle on the throttle as early as we can, but full throttle. That was very nice on the throttle there. So you're just trying to double apex that one and bring it out as wide as you can. I'll explain it a bit better on the third person view. Anyway, it's 55 metres, we're going to turn in. You can go over that curb, it doesn't hurt you too much. 110 metres here, braking hard, down through the gears. As you're coming off, turning in, you can take a little bit of this off track. Shortest possible path to the line. Sacrificed about 2/10 in that last sector. That's alright. That was a 201.531. Alright. Let's jump into the third person view. See how we went. Alright guys, here we are, heading down the first straight. So as I explained in my actual lap recording, we're looking for the 50 metre mark here. Now, that is pretty much a little bit past this intersection. So what we're going to try and do, hit this intersection, turn in a little bit, and after we turn in, I should say, I'm going to lightly scrub the brakes. Now, 20%, 25% max. What we're trying to do is trying to bleed a little bit of speed whilst putting some weight on our nose. Now, we're going to head all the way out onto this curb on the right-hand side here. Then we're going to touch this one. Could have gone about a foot in there. And we're going to come out on here. Once we're here, we're going to get all the way off the brakes. Going to start to point our nose in and get on the throttle very lightly. About 5 metres from the right about here, I'm starting to think about going full throttle. Alright, so we're well before the apex, and what we're trying to do here, hit that curb a little bit. You can get a little bit more than that is alright. Any more than that will really disrupt the car. Now, I could have taken a little bit more speed through here. I've done a little bit better on previous laps, but basically you just want to come out here wide as you can. That is as wide as you want to go through there. If you get on that green stuff, what it does is it'll start to belly you out and you'll start to slip. So that was good. Now, notice I'm trying to go as wide as I can, as soon as I can. Course correct. What that does is it sets us up for this set of S's through here. So what we're trying to do here, course correct, go over this curb. As we're hitting this curb right here, lift into about 50%. What that does is it stops the disruption of the car too much. So full throttle here again for a quarter of a second, I'm imagining, and then we're lifting again as we're course correcting. Now that just shifts our weight from our back again onto our nose as we lift. We're never fully lifting. We always want to be a little bit on the throttle through this section. Just stabilizes that rear as we're swooping from left to right to left again. Alright, here we go. Beautiful. Through that section. Now this section I could have done a little bit better. Normally I try and stay off this curb about a foot to the right of this line, but that's not too bad. I just got on the power a little bit too early there. Now this next one, it's pretty important. You don't want to go too far to the right here. You want to keep it tucked in. Now, I could have, as I said, I carried a little bit too much speed through there. Had to sacrifice it for here. But this is the important one. You ought to be going the right speed as you hit this point here. You want to lift, be very lightly on the throttle once again. Keep that rear stabilized. And you want to just hug this. You don't ever want to slide out. You have a little bit of slip angle through here, but this is about as wide as you want to go. Once again, I've done a little bit better on other laps, but by this point, we're fully on the throttle. That's the main point. Halfway through this curb, so roundabouts here, you want to be fully on the throttle here. So you got a big straight heading to these double rights. So here we go. All right, back up through here. Now this I've found is really important. As we get to about here, we're starting to get a little bit too much slip. So what I do is I give her a little straighten, just a little jiggle of the wheel, and that just gives us a little bit of traction. Now that plants all 4 of our wheels right about there. See? Plants all 4 of our wheels and gives us some nice drive through this next section. Alright, now this is now my worst corner. I don't know why. I keep stuffing it up. Anyway, about the 55 meter mark, I give a little dab of the brake. As I'm releasing the brake, I'm turning in. I'm trying not to clobber this curb. If I clobber this curb, I'll push out wide. I push out wide and we'll have an off track. So anyway, here we go. Dab of the brake, releasing, turning in. That's pretty well perfect. A little bit more will turn you in. Could have carried a little bit more speed through there. Now I want my left hand wheels to be as far as I can on this left hand side red and white curb without touching that green curb. You'll belly out. You won't be set up for this next corner. It's horrible. Don't go out there. All right, now as soon as we're straight, I'm starting to think about braking. And we're going to go down through the gears. We're going to go into third, turn in, get on the power a good few meters before we hit this curb. All right, here we go. Braking. I could have been a bit wider there. Turned in. Could have gone a bit closer to this curb. I could have carried more speed through this whole section, really. So I was actually bottoming out through there. Not real good. Probably 2 or 3 tenths in that. Alright, this one, once again, as soon as we straightened out past this curb, right about there, I'm braking on the brakes as soon as we're all straight. Down through the gears, into second. Clip a little bit of this curb, will turn you in nicely. On the power as early as you can. Once again, don't go any wider than that. Those wheels are perfect. Alright, now shortest possible path through here, guys. You're not going to scrub too much speed by turning in, keeping it narrow. It's going to be beneficial. Now this section, this is notoriously the hardest section of the track. It's just double sweeping left. Now, the way that I've found that gets me a bit more consistency, may not be as quick, more consistent for me. I hold 5th. I could shift to a bit 6th about here, and I would gain a few extra kilometers. But what I've found by holding 5th really, really stabilizes my rear. I can consistently go through these 2 corners. Don't always catch both the apexes, but I can get through these 2 corners nicely. I can get on the power early in that second part of the corner. Alright, so what we're looking through here, looking for this intersection right here. At this point, this is where I start to scrub the brakes. Once again, very light braking zone, talking 20% here. And we're going to go from 5th to 4th. As we're hitting this curb here, we want to get on the power. Now, that will stabilize the rear. I was a little bit delayed here because I didn't get it turned in very nicely. Ideally, as I'm coming off that curb, I want to be fully on the gas. Now, this is another weird one. So, when I was learning this track, I was keeping my right wheels on this red and white curb because I was found as soon as I was catching any part of this dark green curb, it was sending me off into the nether regions. I was bottoming out. It was horrible. But as I started playing around with track limits, I found I could actually use a bit of this lighter green AstroTurf, and it wasn't giving me an off track. And what that was doing is opening up this corner, so I could turn in a little bit later, carry a little bit more speed, and inevitably it meant that I could get on the gas a little bit earlier. So I found it was actually about a 10th quicker getting all the way out here. But either way, you have to commit. If you use this green stuff and your right wheels are on this green stuff and you're trying to turn in, it's horrible. Alright, so we're out here, turning in. Try and catch that curb. Not too much of it because it'll kick your ass around. And you're just trying to get on that power as early as possible. So what I'll do is I'll rewind and I'll just play this back. We'll listen to the audio. Full throttle there. So I was full throttle maybe 10 meters. So halfway between the 2 curbs. Very easy corner this one coming. Basically you're looking for the 55 odd meter mark. Just turn it in. Not too hard. Don't want to scrub too much speed. you can actually go over that curb a little bit more. Caught me daydreaming. Beautiful. Alright, chicane. This one really isn't too hard. So about the 110 meter mark, we're hard on the brakes, down into second. As we're releasing the brakes and catching second, we're turning in. So we're trading some brake pedal for turn angle. Alright, so I'll play this slowly. So what we're going to do, going down to second, coming off the brakes here, turning in, using a lot of this green stuff. Could have used a little bit more, but you see how I tried to keep it nice and tight to this side. We didn't go anywhere near the middle of that track. Ideally, there's about a foot in that. I could have caught a little bit. I could have been overall about a foot to the right. Alright, now, as soon as we're straight, going back to the right. You don't want to use too much of that curb, but you can use a little bit more than this. If you kiss that curb, maybe half a foot to the left, it will actually turn you in. You can get on the power a little bit better. Alright, now you can use a bit of this as well, a little bit of that off track. There's probably about a 10th through that section. I definitely have a 2-minute flat in me, but yeah, just haven't been able to put it together, so that's that. Anyway, shortest possible path to the line, and that's a lap around Suzuka in the iR-04. Alright guys, hope you've enjoyed this track guide. Any questions, hit me up in the comments. If you want to see more of these, like and subscribe will very much help, and yeah. Let me know if you want more. I'll do my best. Got a newborn a few meters behind me, but, you know, we do our best. Alright guys, thank you so much. Bye.